Smart, smart, do. We are the children, the children of God. Come, come, come. We change our world. We have what it takes to do it smart and make it smart. Welcome to our Smart Do.
Welcome, class 4s, for today's English lesson. I hope you are doing fine. I'm also doing very fine, as you can see, and ready for today's lesson. Now, today, we are going to look at verbs and subjects. Verbs and subjects. And I'm sure in the course of your studies, you have ever come across these words. The only thing is that you may not know how to identify them when it comes to a sentence. Now, when we start with verbs, we start by describing what a verb is. Now we say a verb is a word. A verb is a word. A word that shows an action. A verb is a word that shows an action. Now, an action is something that is being done. An action is something that is being done. Something that is being done by somebody. Now, actions can either be seen or not seen. Actions can either be seen or not seen. So, any word that is showing us somebody doing something is what we call a verb. Now, verbs have another name. They are also called doing words. They are also called doing words. Now, having mentioned doing words, I am sure these are very familiar words. And we can mention some of the doing words that we have. Examples are, yes, eating, we have eating. Another example of a doing word, yes, jumping. Others include skipping, writing. All these are examples of doing words. And so therefore, anytime you see a word that shows an action, you should identify it as a verb or a doing word. Now, if you have them in sentences, we can say, the thief jumped through the window. The thief jumped through the window. So in that sentence, which word shows us the action that is going on? Yes, the word will be jumped. So this is the action word. Jumped is the action word. We can have another sentence that will say, the teacher wrote on the board. The teacher wrote on the board. Now, which is the action word in that sentence? Yes, the action word is wrote. So the word wrote and jumped are examples of verbs. And we have seen that a verb is a word that shows an action that is going on. Now, when we go to the next part, that is what we call subjects. Now, this one does not refer to learning areas like English, mathematics, or Swahili. No. This one refers to the doer of an action in a sentence. the doer of an action in a sentence. Now, when we talk about the doer, this is the person who's performing the action that has been mentioned in the sentence. For example, when we go back to our first sentence of the thief. The thief, we have the thief jumped. The thief jumped through the window. So, we already have the action of jumping. We already have the action of jumping. Now, who did the jumping? Who did this jumping? Or who jumped? It is the thief. It is the thief. So, the thief in this sentence becomes the subject. The thief becomes the subject. That is the doer of this action of jumping. Another example, like the one we have on the board here of the teacher. The teacher wrote on the board. Who is the doer of this action? It will be the teacher. It will be the teacher. And therefore, the teacher becomes the subject in that sentence. Let's have another example. I drove the car fast. I drove the car fast. So, who is the doer or the subject in that sentence? Now, the doer of this action of driving will be I. So, anytime you are told to identify the subject in a sentence, the subject refers to the doer of the action that has been given in that sentence. So therefore, keep on practicing such kind of sentences. There are so many of them in our books, and I am sure when you look at them and read them over and over, you will be able to tell, differentiate between the subject and the verbs in the sentences. So work out the exercises in your books, and we shall have a look at them later on. Thank you very much, and have a good time. Bye-bye.